All right, so oh, hey, Derek, drop off. One person have bad internet connection. All right, so well, that's going on, guys. Uh, yeah. All right. What's the first topic you see there and beneath organic chemistry?
Petroleum and crude oil, organic, carbon,
Yeah.
fossil.
Very good. So that what I've used here is the keywords here that again CXE could just throw them in questions. And all right, so the plan is that we're gonna go through a lot of these questions, especially in the extra classes. We're going to try and go through all the questions on organic chemistry since 2008, all the way down to present. Um, Also, there was actually an exam, a CXE exam for, yeah, it was in January 2021. Trying to get a hold of that paper though, but certainly that there was an exam then. All right, so remember that CXE is done in January and in June. January exam is for those who fail the June exam, and so each time those exams are held, they leave a trail of past papers behind. Some of them, well, CXC doesn't like the fact that it is out there and persons have it to look at. They they try to, I think they want to make some money from it, so they tell centers to not to release them, but then you know teachers being who we are, they try to hold on to them for your sake. So, you know, every year, tend to keep a track of it. No, so no, that is it. But what we're doing now is trying to look at this first line of information. Petroleum and crude oil. That is something. No, I tell you this, and for paper two, all of what you're seeing on the screen here is very likely. One question will come from this. That is just that's just a given. All right. One question will come from petroleum, crude oil, any one of these that you see me take off. All right. That those will be asked. You can't run away from that. So all right, so let's hold on a sec. Good. All right, so sorry about that. All right, let's get back in here. All right, so now, so then question is now, what is petroleum? Anybody ever hear that word before? Anybody know what is petroleum?
No, sir.
No. Okay, all right, that's cool. So yeah, pretty sad. Anybody ever hear about petrojam yet?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So how you know you ever hear, how you hear about petrojam and never hear about petroleum?
Sir, I've heard about it, but I don't know. Like, to explain exactly what it is, I couldn't explain to you.
Sir, I know that petroleum is like this liquid form
Mm-hmm.
of hydrocarbons or something like that.
Okay, yeah, that's true. That's true. Um, all right. Well, all right, let's start there then. So petroleum is a new thing for you guys. All right. This is what petroleum looks like. All right, everybody seen it?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. So um that is it. That is petroleum. I mean, it's basically crude oil. It has different forms though, different texture depending on which part of the world you're coming from here. But petroleum is basically well, it could be also solid too. You know, it could be solid. Um, in fact, in solid form, it has another name. This some of them have this dark colored texture here. Uh, so as I say, it depends on which part of the world you come from. Your petroleum would be different. No, the question is, does well, because you don't know what it is, it's really hard for me to ask any question about it. But do you think Jamaica has any petroleum?
Sir, could you repeat?
Do you think Jamaica has petroleum?
Sir, I don't know. Probably some years ago. I don't know.
So in
Alright.
social studies class, we learned that Trinidad and Tobago would have a lot of oil. So I
Mm.
think instead of Jamaica, Trinidad and Tobago would have it.
Oh, well, instead of Jamaica. All right. So basically, then, if Trinidad has it, then you're saying that we might not have it. Because you hear that another country have it, then
Sir,
yeah.
I think that we have it.
Oh, when you're saying have it, okay, cool. No problem there. Well, and then you say I've heard of Petrojam before. Does and nobody knows what Petrojam mean?
No, sir.
Oh, okay, that's sad. But hey, you guys better know those things. All right, Petroleum um Company of Jamaica, Petroleum Jamaica, Petrojam. So sort of abbreviation, or either call it a acronym really. So it's abbreviation that can spell out as a word is an acronym. So therefore yeah, Petrojam is Petroleum Jamaica. So therefore it's something that Jamaica has, but in order for us to have it, we have to get it from somewhere. You hear about Trinidad having it, but the way how Trinidad gets it is different from how we get it. All right. So who said that Trinidad? Yeah, they heard that Trinidad has petroleum. Was you Kimberly?
Yes, sir, I said they have oil, but I'm not sure if petroleum and oil would be the same thing in Trinidad.
Oh, okay. All right. I want to tell you that they are the same thing. Really, it's just a matter of understanding what words mean. All right. Oleum means oil. Oleum is actually, I think it's Greek or Latin. Need to confirm that. But pitch, petro, comes from, well, because the root word, I think it's Greek, means rock. So it's telling you a story here. The word is telling you a story. And this is why the key to a lot of things is good English skill. Because yeah, your English have to be I mean, like, you need to know words. Pretty much that's like a given. So, and CXC is not afraid to use wordplay on you. If you underline the word petro, this mean rock, and the oleum means oil. So oleum mean oil, and petro, it's actually Petr, pitch. Like in the Bible when you know, which disciple was known as the rock. Yeah, I guess if you didn't go to church, you would know that. But Jonathan should go to church, and Kimberly and Ariana should be church people. All right. But because you don't know which disciple was a rock, his name was Peter, and Peter means a rock. So Petro, coming from that same word, means a rock. And then oil means oil. So crude oil is actually, you could say it's the same thing. All right. Crude oil and petroleum. Use them interchangeably. You know, one can substitute for the other. in most sentences. Any questions here?
No, sir.
All right.
Sir, what did I say they use petroleum for? Like car gas?
Car gas. Well, yeah, that will carry us into know. So yeah, so that will carry us into what happens when we get the crude oil. Notice that this word crude means something, you know. Crude means something. What does crude mean? Crude. What does crude mean? Uh, Nobody knows what crude. The word crude mean.
Sir, I know that it's like this dark brown oily thing.
Hold on. That's what crude mean. That's what crude mean.
No, sir, I said I know how it looks, I think.
Well, no, I want to know what the word crude mean. I don't want to know what come after that. Just what crude. What does the word crude mean?
Sir, to be raw. Like,
Yes, crude mean raw and unprocessed. Right. So crude oil is what is below the earth here. Right. So crude mean raw. All right. Now, I think this pen is not writing. Oh, yeah, there you have it. Pen is writing. No. All right. So raw. And so what happens here is this. Below the earth and below the sea, there is this rock isle. There are layers of rocks that we are told exist below the earth. And some of those rocks is actually formed by things that have been here before us. At least that's what we are told. And so the things before us died and have become rock or fossil. All right. So this word fossil, that's why the word fossil is actually in the list of things that we need to know up here. All right. So petroleum, that oil beneath the earth, and crude oil, same thing. This basically it's a compound that consists of organic carbon. Also the word fossil is used to explain it as well. So for CXE purposes, they will ask you to explain the what you call it now, the refining of crude oil. So because it's crude, or as Ariana said, raw, we have to process it. So now, there that process now is where a lot of questions have been asked from CXE. So the process that we use to take care of this oil, I'm gonna show you in a second, or a couple of seconds here. After I was trying to get a new slide here. This now is what happens to crude oil. What's the word above here?
Fractional distillation.
Yes. So that's the process we use to, basically process the crude oil. And that's the main reason why we have interest in it. Not because the black oil that we get from below the earth have any value unless you process it. It was there for centuries, guys, and persons did not even care about it. Countries were very poor before they realized that they had this valuable thing below them. And so the emergence of oil happened in like the 1900s. I believe in the 1800s it was also been thought of, but then I think by the 1900s now it was a thing where, as we say, some countries like Saudi Arabia and some desert countries, they were poor because they didn't have any agriculture going on there. And these people that live there were wanderers. They used to roam the desert to find oasis, a place where they can probably settle down and set up a tent and have a few goats and so on. And so persons in those countries were living life. Anybody ever hear about Dubai?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, that's Dubai is a classic example of that. Dubai is rich because of this thing here, crude oil. So why is this? In fact, crude oil is also called black gold. All right. It's black gold.
Sir, is it true that when, like, before putting crude oil in the fractional distillation, so what separates that thing? Is it true that it is not valuable and it doesn't have any use?
All right. So as I was saying before, that the value of it in the raw state is not very high. All right. So you don't have any ratings in the crude state. So what countries usually do, if them can set up a distillation plant, them sell the crude oil in barrels. Them just collect whatever they can collect from under the ground. Just get machine, a special drilling machine that just basically drill the earth and then use a siphoning technique to bring up the liquid. And then just churning it into some barrels. So yeah. So the only value it have there now, Kimberly, is if a country can set up the distillation tower, they would just sell the crude oil for some cash. You understand? So they have a set price for oil for 1 barrel of oil. So what countries would do if they just have the crude oil without any processing plant is just sell the crude oil in barrels, and they try to send a certain amount per year. So them can predict how much money they can make off of it, and then know them decide what they're going to do next. So that's how it works. So it does have value in terms of monetary value, but in terms of like you can just get it from underground now. Let us say if it was in your backyard, you couldn't do anything with it. Really, it would just be useless there. So unless you're going to sell it, that's the only use it have. However, afterwards, and I hope everybody is watching this, the crude oil is sent into a furnace, right? Very hot place, really. Um, and the temperature is actually controlled there. And there are different columns now after the heat has been applied to it. Different columns that capture the vapors and whichever liquids that is formed. These towers now they send it to different parts, and then you can just there are different uses for each part. So this distillation process now it divides the oil into different parts. All right, so the heaviest part is actually this one. Anybody can pronounce that word? Let's zoom in on the image so you can see what's happening. Anybody can pronounce this word here?
Sir, bitumen.
Yeah, bitumen. All right. Another name for bitumen is what? All right. That's another name for bitumen is asphalt. All right. But let's look at what causes this to form. All right. If you see here, this sign here means that the heat would be what? Greater than. In fact, less than really. This 350 here is that's the temperature that you would need to reach so that you get this substance here. So 350 degrees. That's a marker. So that's the amount of heat that would be required here to get this out of crude oil, guys. So crude oil, you know, one bucket or what you call this now, or 1 tower of crude oil then can give you all of these just by distilling. Just adding a little heat to it and managing the temperature each segment, and you get different stuff from it. So yes, you can get all of these stuff from it. From 1 tower of crude oil, you can get petroleum gas. This is actually cooking gas. And we're gonna learn a lot about this because it's actually on the syllabus here. This is actually called propane. And this is what IGL sells you. All right. So that's the lightest fraction really. Only has 3 carbon atoms in it. So we're gonna speak to that some more later on. And of course we have gasoline now, which is a little bit heavier than so this is basically the lightest fraction, and down here so is the heaviest fraction. All right, so that's it. I know you guys would have class now, but just leaving you with this here in terms of important stuff to know. All right, crude oil is processed using distillation, fractional distillation, and each column and column, basically is going down here from 25 degrees all the way to 350. Each segment gives you a different substance. All right, the lightest fraction would be petroleum gas, and then the heaviest one would be asphalt. All right, in between you have these. So we'll continue with this next class, guys. All right, and also we're going to have class on that's tomorrow evening at 5 o'clock. So you guys can join us that time. All right, guys.
Okay, sir.
Bye, sir.
All right,
Bye,
bye.
sir.
Bye.
All right, sir.
All right, Jonathan. Yeah.